I literally was like, Wisconsin's going to crap on High Point.
You said they're going to what?
I was like, they're going to crap on High Point.
You think?
I just don't believe in them. They play similar too. High Point's a big offensive team, and I'm like, all right, go ahead and try to have a better offense than Wisconsin.
Man, the sports slate tonight.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
16 versus 16, Texas versus NC State, WVC final.
For the rest of the week, man.
Bro, I'll cheer for
gosh.
UT. I hate State.
Huh?
I'll cheer for UT.
As you should.
Yeah,
As you should.
Joe won't like my pick.
Firstly, I would not hate it because I would completely understand. I'm not too high.
I'll be like, Hunter, I know NC State's not the biggest UNC rival, but I'm going to set both of you here.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Give me NC State.
We'll wait. I walked by him like multiple times last week. Like, in the tunnels and everything.
At the tourney.
Like wouldn't even give him eye contact. Yeah. I had it moved off mine. Check. Awesome. Cool. 3 breaks again, Joe.
Yep. So just so you know, we're going to keep you on here for the first, and then a little bit more in the second, and then you'll be done.
Perfect.
Just wanted to start with Syracuse stuff in the first part.
Oh, yeah, that's smart.
And then Adrian Autry getting fired a little bit at the end, if we get there.
Yep.
Yeah, they get to play Audie Crooks.
I know. What a match.
Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
And we are finally back inside the SMC studios at the Newhouse School. It is Newhouse Afternoon on Q Sports Talk Radio, on YouTube and Twitch. So glad to be back. Joseph Duffy joined alongside Hunter Caparelli as always, and we're pleased to have a special guest in the middle with us to start it off, for it is March Madness season. Tommy Armstrong, welcome into the studios.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Best week of the sports calendar, in my opinion, at least.
Completely
Nothing beats March Madness, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
A guy who I look at as one of the biggest sickos I've ever seen in college basketball. This guy is always looking up Ken Pom and just any type of basketball stats that he can, feast his eyes upon during the basketball season. Tommy, start by introducing yourself and what you do here at Newhouse.
Yeah, so grad student, as are you two at Newhouse here. Beat reporter for men's and women's basketball, carrying on to the lacrosse season, same thing. Been fortunate enough to get on some of the women's basketball games in terms of the broadcasts as well. So I've had a front row seat at some of the games, which has been fantastic. Trying to do everything I can from reporting to the broadcasting, cover as much sports, and as you mentioned, crunch the numbers as hard as I can when it comes to March Madness. So anything sports, anything stats, numbers, I'm all for it.
I consider myself a huge college basketball hoop head, and after I met Tommy last fall, I was like, all right, there are a few people who may know even more college basketball than I do, and I definitely think Tommy's one of them. So happy to have him on the show.
In a way that I like talking about high school football, this guy loves talking about high school basketball. A Jersey guy who keeps track with all the high school prospects that are coming up in college basketball. We're going to start by talking about Syracuse women's basketball, the lone team in the basketball program at Syracuse to make the tournament. They made it as a number 9 seed. They had the watch party at Destiny USA, a top 10 mall in America. Pleased for Syracuse to have that. But they found out they'll be playing against number 8 Iowa State, and there's a good matchup that you're looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And the matchup within the matchup is between the two centers. It's Uche Ezoje, who's winning all the awards in the ACC. Audie Crooks on the other side. You've seen the talent that she possesses on the offensive side of the ball. Going to be really fun, especially with Uche. Syracuse likes to stick to their defense. Iowa State, on the other hand, scores, runs it up, especially with Crooks in the middle. So that's going to be a fantastic matchup. You talk about that draw in total. They were sitting on that 8-9 line for weeks and weeks, even months. You were hoping for one more win, and towards the end, almost one more loss just to kick them to the 10 seed even. Don't really want to have to run into UConn in the second round, but that's the draw they get.
You know, we talked about it on our show 2 weeks ago. We were off last week because of spring break. Got to cover the men's tournament, the ACC tournament last week in Charlotte, so that was super fun. But 2 weeks ago, we brought this up with the women's team, the fact that 8-9 seeds in the women's tournament compared to the men's tournament, it's a lot lower winning percentage when they hit that second round against the 1 seed. We actually looked it up. 8-9 seeds are 4 in 104 against 1 seeds. That's just below 4%. Men's 8-9, it bumps up to about 17%. They're 21 and 123. Let's say Syracuse finds a way to beat Iowa State. They maybe don't allow Audie Crooks to drop 40 points. They move on and play UConn. Do they have any chance of potentially making history and taking down 1-seeded UConn in the second round?
Yeah, well, one thing, this team is fearless, and they're going to go in every matchup thinking that the extra advantage with women's basketball, men's obviously sectioned off by region. Women's basketball, you're playing at the top seeds home as well. So not only you're versing UConn, you're at UConn facing them. It's just way too hard. This team's unbelievable. They've won 29 games straight by double digits. And I mean, you compare it to the historical UConn teams, they're right up there at the top. You never want to say there's not a chance.
No,
you know, they could pull it off, but their focus is to get through Iowa State and perhaps worry about that later on in the week.
That Sarah Strong, Ozzie Fudd combination is lethal. I mean, they won the championship last year. They're undefeated this year. Obviously, hone in on Iowa State first. Get to UConn when we get to UConn, I think.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's going to be extra preparation going. Obviously, the unfortunate news for Syracuse is that Dominique Darius will not be in the tournament. So they got to find out a way to win. They've competed against teams at their caliber. They haven't really beaten teams at the top of the nation, but Iowa State's someone who is even with them. It's just going to be an even more difficult task now with Darius out.
Let's take a look at this region, Tommy. A lot of heavy hitters, as you were saying. UConn, who will start off against UTSA. You have a Maryland versus Murray State matchup. Hunter's North Carolina Tar Heels against Western Illinois. Notre Dame and Fairfield, Ohio State, Howard, Illinois, Colorado, and Vandy and High Point. And you look at these matchups, what catches your eye?
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's not one that's guaranteed, but down the line, if Notre Dame can pull off a win in the first round, potentially an upset against Ohio State. Notre Dame Vanderbilt is one I'm really excited for that I'm hoping gets to the Sweet 16. It's two of the top scorers in the nation. Obviously in the ACC, we know Hannah Hidalgo on Notre Dame, but at the same time for VCU, Michaela Blake's the #1 scorer in all of women's college basketball for Vanderbilt. That could be really fun. There's just high offense in this region. We already talked about Iowa State a little bit, which Syracuse is going to have the matchup for. So all over the board, just some really talented scorers.
We've talked about this all year long with the women's team. The fact that it seems like the theme this year has been the fact that they've been able to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, but they haven't really been able to get over that hump of beating teams they're not expected to beat. I think in this 8-9 matchup, this Iowa State team is a squad that, just because of Audie Crooks being one of the best, if not the best player in the country, is probably a game where they're not going to be expected to win. Do we think that Coach Felicia Leggett-Jack could change that narrative with a win in the first round this coming week?
Yeah, and that's what she's looking for. We saw it before just a couple of years ago, the Syracuse team make a run. The biggest thing is they have to control the tempo. Iowa State loves to score. Syracuse can do it. They can catch some fire, but defense is their bread and butter, turning teams over, generating that into points. Iowa State, in games they've won, score almost 90 points per game, and then in losses score 67 points. That's what Syracuse has to focus on. Their average points is 75. They got to keep Iowa State playing with them instead of playing Iowa State's game.
It seems to be a lot of the same favorites in the women's tourney, a lot, especially the last few years. UConn seems to be back at that level that we saw, the historic level back in the mid-2010s all the way to the late 2010s. Undefeated this year. You have South Carolina, always going to be competitive. Sure. 2 of their losses have come from the Texas Longhorns. I don't know how seriously you take the Texas women's program.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you look at the titans of this tournament, is it just going to be a UConn-South Carolina final that you look at? Who do you look at as the one really taking home?
Yeah, that's kind of just how it is with the women's bracket, too. Obviously, in the men's, we saw 4 1 seeds in the Final Four last season, and that's just something that you typically see in the women's game. UCLA looks phenomenal, and right now the runaway favorite is UConn. Even by the books, they're heavily favored to win. So it's going to take a performance, even by the other 1 seeds, that is a little unexpected to go ahead and top the Huskies. UCLA is a team that's right there, though. They bested Iowa in the Big Ten tournament by 51 points. They're playing some of their best ball right now. I look at them to get on the other end and that to be the matchup at the end of the day, but don't count out the Longhorns, Joe. They got a defense.
Can't count out Dawn Staley either.
Never can. And she's always going to be competitive. It never ceases to amaze me, by the way, the great coaches, say like Gina Auriemma, historically one of the greatest coaches in the history of D1 basketball, men's or women's, say what you want. Even throughout the implementation of, NIL, you've seen this guy still win. And even though it's been a little bit slower, it's slowed down a little bit the last few years. He won the national championship last year, and he's back at that undefeated pace. It's just unreal to watch. Even in 2026, he is still winning.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just more the developmental part, too, in the women's game. Players stay longer in college, so you're going to commit to a coach, and you're going to be there and really build your skills for multiple years. Obviously, in the men's game, you want to play for a coach who's going to help you get to that next level, too, but you see way more. They're the one-and-dones in the men's game, especially with this freshman class. For the women's, you're going to commit to a program that's really going to make the most out of you and make as many championship runs as you can possibly get in 4 years.
I'm really just excited to see what I think Layla Filia could do in this game coming up this week. Obviously, everyone knows about Uche Azoje, everything that she's been able to do this year, winning ACC Rookie of the Year. I'm excited to see what Filia could do, especially with Dominique out for the entire tournament, potentially to see if she could maybe up her scoring and take over that offensive production that Darius would sometimes take the load off of.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key. This whole year, this team's been searching for kind of a fifth player. They had a really strong four. Azoje, you mentioned Filia, Dominique Darius, obviously, and then Sophie Burrows can fill up the cup as well. They haven't really had that last player to come in and give them points. They have players that play a role really well, but now with Dominique Darius out, they're searching for even more, and it's just going to put more on the shoulders of Layla Filia and Sophie Burrows. Filia, we've seen it before. She's getting close to 40-point games throughout this season, and they're really just going to lean on her to kind of stay with this Iowa State pace, and at the same time, Dominique Darius is the primary ball handler for this team. They need someone else to just control the offense.
I think Azoje is just going to have enough to handle down low with Crooks that they're going to need Filia to potentially go off and maybe score 40 points to get the win.
Yeah, and they were trying some different point guards in that last game of the ACC tournament against Louisville. It didn't go their way, so mixing up some looks, mixing up a few different ball handlers to try and lead the offense. At the end of the day, it might just be, hey, we're going to assign Layla Filia to this, and she's got to bring her A++ game.
Well, regardless of how it goes in the tournament for the Syracuse team, it's been a successful season compared to last year. They'll play Iowa State Saturday at 5:30. The first four for the women's tournament starts on Wednesday. Tommy, we're going to switch over to the Syracuse men's squad. A lot of news coming out over the break with Adrian Autry finally being fired from the Syracuse men's team, and they've also introduced a new AD in Brian Blair. Your thoughts on both of that?
Yeah, so, I mean, the biggest thing is just stepping in right away and fixing the problem as quickly but just as efficiently as possible. At the same time, you fire the head coach and you have a new athletic director, have to kind of work still in rhythm with the DNA that's here, but make a very important hire for this men's basketball program. Obviously, there's been an NCAA drought, something that just doesn't live up to the standard of Syracuse. That's why Coach Autry eventually gets fired at the end of this season, and a really important decision looms ahead.
Right, I mentioned I was on site for the loss last Tuesday. Very awkward in the press conference after the fact. I think Coach Autry had heard all the noise outside and seemed like that's where everything was pointing towards. All the reporters knew. It seemed like the players in the locker room even after knew, like they were fighting to keep his job, but it seemed like everyone around the program knew what was going to happen, and we find out the following morning. As far as replacements for Autry, I've been hearing two big names come up. I've been hearing Brian Hodgson from USF. I had a source from The Athletic tell me he thinks it's 100% going to be Hodgson, and then I had a separate source from the Field of 68 tell me this morning that he thinks Hodgson could actually be in the front seat for Providence.
Yep.
That it's basically between Providence and Syracuse. What are your thoughts on potentially Hodgson going either Providence or Syracuse?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the two biggest roles to fill right now. There's a couple other ACC teams that are going to be searching for a coach, but nothing to the standard of what Syracuse brings. Providence, obviously, a really good program that they're looking to bounce back as well after going through a couple of coaches in the last few years. For Hodgson, I think the really important thing, if Syracuse wants him to get that mutual connection, is he's from around the area. He's right off the Buffalo side of things. He's going to be playing his first NCAA tournament.
Grew up a Syracuse fan, too.
Yeah, so there's already that connection. I think that's going to be the biggest calling card for Syracuse, and just for him to take that next leap going from the American to the ACC could be a really big step for him.
Don't count out Jerry McNamara, though, from Siena.
That's always still thrown in.
Played with Carmelo on the Natty team. Obviously, Siena, a big step down from Syracuse. They're playing Duke.
Yeah.
This coming week, the 1 seed Duke, 16 Siena, but don't count out McNamara. He, like I mentioned, played on the Natty team. I think he could really bring that, that atmosphere, with Syracuse, playing for the team, and then potentially come if Hodgson doesn't work out, if he goes to Providence, and that's a good second backup option.
Go ahead, sorry.
It would be a big step for McNamara, as you said, but the fun thing is obviously we're not expecting a 16-seeded Siena to go out and beat Duke. That would be something if they did, but circle both of those games, the two coaches that potentially Syracuse is looking at, they're playing ACC teams. Hodgson's going against Louisville, and then McNamara's going against Duke. You like to see how they perform in the tournament, something that Syracuse is hoping to get right back into once they have a new hire.
Such an interesting look that the two candidates that are looking to get that job, are going to a place that didn't make the tournament while their teams that they are coaching did. I think it's interesting for Brian Blair. I don't know if you've seen his interviews, but he seems to be very fiery. Not exactly an intense guy, but he's not into all the excuses surrounding NIL. He thinks there's no excuse if he were, but if he is at Syracuse, running this program. How do you look at him operating these teams, and how do you think he'll divest with football and basketball?
Well, I mean, that's the biggest thing in the game right now is the NIL, and you have to find somebody to go out and manage it. And I mean, he's coming from a school like Toledo. Again, it's not the guy making a big jump, but that should only play in his favor if he's all about that, if he's about the NIL. You make the coach hiring first. Obviously, that's the biggest thing in terms of recruitment. Your players have to gravitate towards a coach in order to want to come here and play. But then the next part of it is how are you going to get those top-tier players? It's one thing to recruit, but it's the next thing in this day and age. You have to have that NIL, and you have to go out and be willing to spend it.
We've brought up Syracuse's NIL situation on the show earlier, the fact that they're considered to be in the Tier 3 for ACC men's basketball between that $2 and $4 million budget, whereas teams in the Tier 1, UNC, Duke, $10 to $14 million. So if they could hopefully up that, I heard Coach Autry even mention it right before he was let go the following morning, the fact that he takes full responsibility and full blame for this year's shortcomings, but the NIL part is a factor for a reason that they might not be able to bring in talent that other teams have been able to bring in. So I think that's going to be a big step for whoever they hand the keys over to, getting that NIL money up to potentially bring in that much needed talent.
Well, that breakup of Adam Weitzman, the SU program, has definitely had a trickle-down effect. Hopefully, that can be repaired with Brian Blair. I don't know if it can, but we've seen Adam Weitzman having those posts on social media about what he's done with the former people he's brought into the Dome. Celebrities like Gronk and Tom Brady in the Dome just a few years ago. Let's see if that can be repaired soon. Tom, do you mind sticking around for another segment?
I'd absolutely love to.
Let's do it. It's 3:16 on the dot on Newhouse afternoon. When we come back, we'll talk more about the men's tourney in just a few moments. We'll be right back on Newhouse Afternoon.
Still streaming live on Twitch and YouTube. If anyone has any questions, hit up the YouTube or Twitch chat. Like Joe mentioned, we'll be
What's up, Joey? Wearing
talking
green?
some college basketball. So
Yeah,
I like the sweater.
I went home real quick. He was wearing that early. I was like, oh, I got to put it on.
I had no green. I have literally no. I have the Mavs shirt, I guess.
I forgot it was St. Patrick's Day until I think 2 hours ago.
Yeah. Well, you have them all too. I was going to say I had an early class. I came in and I saw Joey. I'm like, oh, he's got the game going. I wasn't ready.
All right. I think that was a solid first segment. We'll talk about the men's tourney.
Cool.
All right.
I think it would be Hodgson.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I kind of want it to.
Sounds like Mr. Infante kind of hinted at that yesterday.
It seems
He
like
has connections.
That's
Mr.
fire.
Infante.
we heard in the class earlier the fact that the Providence thing could just be a way to drive up his price. The fact that he's asking for more NIL. He's like, oh, Providence is in circulation that could hopefully bring in competition. You bring that up, and then Syracuse might say, oh, well, we really want you. We'll give you more money.
And if that weren't the case, if this team is just competing with Providence like that for a coach, that is an awful sign.
Yeah.
Awful sign.
Like it should.
Whew.
We saw 4 1 seeds make the Final Four last year.
And three 2 seeds make the Elite Eight.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
If it's a similar outlook this year.
That's what happens when you're letting a 14-loss Texas team try and play in.
Hey, if they win by 10, we're going to have some conversations.
Oh, don't worry.
We'll
They
see.
definitely can.
No,
Look,
look what happens. If they beat, NC State,
I low-key like
BYU. The injury in BYU is going to be something to look at. And then you look at Gonzaga, it's like, they don't move me, unfortunately.
They don't move.
I might get delusional if they win against NC State.
Gonzaga's my team to watch only because Braden Huff could come back in the Sweet 16.
Oh, is it sweet? I thought they said he was out. I know he's out for the first weekend.
Going against hurt teams the first 2 rounds? I mean, come on, Texas.
They said, Mark Few said he'll likely be out first weekend, but that he could potentially come back for the Sweet 16. So if they play Purdue, that Sweet 16 game.
Yep.
Purdue's been up and down.
Last year was like the first time since 2008 that Gonzaga didn't make it to the sweep. Lost in the second round.
Yep. Again, if there's any college basketball fans in the Twitch chat that have any questions about their teams,
same thing in the YouTube. If you have anything, let us know. Any questions?
Or call in.
I can never remember the number. It should be on the thing, though.
Off the dome. Excited for some World Baseball Classic Joey Cecchini talk.
I mean, there's just so much that we can look forward to tonight and the rest of the week. The round of 64 kicking off.
I'm going to be hyping up Mick Cronin here.
A guy who seems to always be upset in the postgame. Win or lose, somehow there's something bugging him, apparently.
I got him moving, man. Let's get the Bruins moving.
So where they're playing, I heard something about UCLA with their travel.
It's far. They're playing in Philly.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah. My hope is also, for the men's tourney, they just, teams are there today already? So, get 2 days to figure it out.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
It's 3:21, and we're back on Newhouse Afternoon inside the SMC studios. It is now time to talk about the men's tourney. This time, no Syracuse orange for the 5th straight season, unfortunately, Syracuse fans. But we're back to talk about the men's tourney with plenty of hype. Joseph Duffy and Hunter Caparelli joined alongside Tommy Armstrong. Again, he is back. Tommy, your outlook on this March Madness is a part of the year that you always look forward to.
Oh, yeah.
Especially this tournament in particular. The favorites, it goes Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida in that top 4 in terms of the FanDuel Sportsbook. Does that add up to you when you when you make your bracket?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those top 2 especially. We saw it last year. I think it's just even more with the transfer portal and NIL. It's these top programs that can really stack up. It was 4 1 seeds in the Final Four last season. It was 7 of the 8 Elite 8 being 1 or 2 seeds. Not saying that there won't be upsets. I like a lot of the mid-majors early on in this one. It's just that when it gets to that Sweet 16, Elite 8, these top teams are going to come out on top. I'm a big fan of Duke, big fan of Arizona. Duke's obviously got some injury scares. Versus Florida and Michigan are definitely those next two, but I don't think they can reach the caliber that Duke and Arizona do.
You brought up the impact of NIL, and I think since NIL has been implemented into college athletics, it's especially been a factor in college basketball. The fact that these teams with high budgets are being able to bring in superior talent, and I think that's almost distilled the talent between the top teams and then these mid-major champions who are coming in. There's not as much of a chance for Cinderella teams to cap off some big upsets. Obviously, last year we saw 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. You mentioned 3 2 seeds as well in the Elite 8. Do you think we could see something similar this year?
Yeah, I would expect it. Just as you mentioned, there's just that separation between those really top programs and some of the ones where you see go on the Cinderella runs. Everybody remembers the Loyola Chicago's just a couple of years ago, and now it seems like, oh, maybe we're not seeing it. At the same time, it was only 1 year. It's not like it's been 3 years straight where it's happening. So, again, if this is dominated by the 1s and 2s, okay, now you can really see the landscape changing. But at the same time, you look at what that Elite 8 and that Final Four gave us, and it was some of the best college basketball
100%.
we've seen in a really long time. So I do like the chaos of the beginning. I'm hoping some of those mid-majors can steal some round of 64s, even make a Sweet 16 run. But at the same time, when you have those top teams in the program facing for the Final Four, facing for the championship, you know it's really the highest caliber playing.
You kind of hinted at it already. Chaos of the mid-majors. Who are those teams that we like to call Cinderellas that you are looking forward to seeing play? Because there are some teams out there that could get some more respect and could knock off some of the best teams in the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of them are, you're looking at those 4-5 lines to really be the Cinderellas, those 12 seeds, those 13 seeds that could perhaps string together 2 games, make a Sweet 16 run. One of the most interesting just sections in itself. It's the 2 games of Texas Tech and Akron against Alabama and Hofstra. Off the rip, I have switched throughout the last 48 hours of which of the 4 teams could come out into the Sweet 16 for that one. Texas Tech obviously doesn't have JT Toppin, a player who was in contention for National Player of the Year. I think with him, they're a top 10, top 5 team in the country, could make a championship run. Obviously take a step down. They're still very talented, but even Christian Anderson gets banged up in the Big 12 tournament. And then Alabama, obviously, with Aiden Holloway now having some issues off the court. These are 2 teams where you're looking at those mid-majors in Akron and Hofstra who are really talented in and of itself, maybe getting even slighter advantage playing some teams down a limb.
I don't know if this would be considered a Cinderella team. I love Santa Clara, the 10 seed.
Absolutely.
Going up against the 7 seed Kentucky, who have really underperformed this year under Mark Pope. And I mentioned to you right before the show, I'm kind of high on High Point, the 12 seed going up against 5 seed Wisconsin. My cousin coaches as an assistant for the women's team. So she says she watches the men's team play every day. They look really good in practice. They looked really good all year. Obviously not in as big a conference as one of the Power Fours between an ACC or a Big Ten or SEC, but I really like the potential of High Point maybe being able to shock Wisconsin. I don't see them going as far as a Sweet 16 or Elite 8, but I think those are the 2 higher seeds I'm watching out for. Is there a specific region that you've really honed in on that's been like super interesting as far as between the East, Midwest, South, and West?
Yeah, I'll go 2 things really quick because I want to address the Santa Clara. I like that one, and I think any double-digit team that maybe makes like a Sweet 16 run, that's considered a Cinderella, especially they're coming out of the West Coast. They're a team, here's where my crazy stats come in. They're top 25 in height. They're top 100 in tempo and 3-point rate. They're playing an SEC team first in Kentucky. They can play with that tempo. They can battle with that physicality of the SEC. So that's a really good matchup. I do like them in that first game. See if they could steal it away against Iowa State in the second one as well. One region that I'm really confused on is the East. I think Duke just got a tough road in terms of all the talent. Joe, I know you yourself, you're all about the coaches, the historic programs. You can't stuff more into this region than what you see in the East.
It's insanity.
John Shire, Rick Pitino, Bill Self, Tom Izzo, Mike Cronin, Dan Hurley, they're all in the same region. It's the region of the Blue Bloods, and there's a reason why.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, too. You know how much I love Rick Pitino and St. John's. We've been up and down this show about how for real they are. You saw what they just did to UConn in the Big East tournament. They've beaten them again, and this is the first time in Big East history that a team has won the regular season title and conference title back-to-back years like they have. Are they a for-real team in this tournament to you?
I think you definitely can't mess around with a Rick Pitino coach team. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to give you 120% each minute of the game. The interesting thing is, how does the Big East kind of mix with the rest of the tournament? You see it with St. John's. They like to play slow. They like to beat you with defense. They don't shoot a lot of threes. It's all inside work. And that goes well against the Big East. So them dominate the Big East. They're 0-3 against tournament teams that were in non-conference play this year. They haven't beaten teams outside of the Big East, and honestly, just in general for the conference, it seems like a pretty down year. So you can't count them out. I just don't know how legit they are with the competition they've versed all season.
Feels like the Big East has been on the negative side. We mentioned NIL having a factor on teams really being able to get good in the offseason. Feels like the Big East, from an NIL perspective, has fallen a little behind. I think we saw that this year with the amount of teams they got into the tournament and the fact that, you know, St. John's, UConn, do they have the potentially getting to a Final Four? Maybe. Who knows? Is there a one seed that you think is maybe most vulnerable? Obviously, you mentioned Duke. They have a tough draw in the East. Do you think they're the most vulnerable one seed?
No, if they have Patrick Gungba in there. Obviously, the injuries are a worry, even with Caleb Foster not coming to potentially the Final Four. If they have Gungba in there, Cam Boozer is just special. Like, any team they go against, the other team doesn't have Cam Boozer at the end of the day, and that's pretty much how it's going to face up. But like I said, the path is difficult in terms of just each game. The 8-9 draw, I think it's two of the better 8-9 seeds in Ohio State and TCU. Whoever comes out of that one, they can get Rick Pitino, they can get Bill Self in the Sweet 16. But if they're healthy, I think Duke is just better than those. Michigan, in terms of the guard play, worries me a little bit. They were a bit down in that Big Ten tournament, too. They had
lost their backup point guard.
Yep, LJ Kaysen, is out for that one. In the Big Ten, they had a close game with Iowa State. They're playing close. They lose big time to Purdue. They're one that worries me. I think their path is a little bit easier, so I'm not saying you're going to see them get bounced in the round of 32 or Sweet 16, but I just don't know if they're as talented as the other ones.
Real quick, Tommy, let's preview the first four matchups tonight. Always played in Dayton. You have number 16 UMBC versus number 16 Howard. Then you have the number 11s facing off at 9:15, Texas versus NC State. I'm a little scared of that later matchup, and we'll dive into that. But let's start with UMBC and Howard in that matchup in your perspective.
Yeah, so obviously it's two of the teams that get the unfortunate draw if you won your conference, but you still have to play into the tournament. It's never fun. You're a 16 seed, and you still got to win one to really get in. At the end of the day, UMBC's got a little bit, not by much, I mean, it's got a little bit more experience. Everybody remembers the upset against Virginia. It's not the same coaching staff.
You must be Cinderella.
Like that. But it's a program that's been there before, Howard. You've seen from time to time, but I favor UMBC slightly in that one. At the end of the day, for either one of the teams that runs out of it, you're going to be playing Michigan. I mentioned Michigan has some of their issues in terms of guard play, but they'll take care of either of the 16s.
I'm really curious to see that later matchup. NC State versus Texas. Joe obviously went to Texas for undergrad. As someone who went to North Carolina for undergrad, I'm not a huge fan of NC State as well. They go into this game as a 1.5-point favorite. UT, I think, is underrated, though. Do they have a shot to maybe pull off that? It wouldn't be an upset, but the flip-em game, the 11 versus 11.
Yeah, exactly. The spread suggested. I mean, they're on the 11 seed. It's not even a 2-point spread. This is a coin flip at the end of the day, and it's always fun to see the two different conferences, especially the SEC and the ACC, battle in basketball. They play different styles. But NC State likes to run it up on the offensive end, too. They like to play fast. They like to score. That's what the SEC does, and that's what you see from Texas as well. I think it's going to be a fun one. They're evenly matched, and a lot of times when I go with that, you like to favor the better conference, and that's going to be the SEC. They're just more battle-tested. The ACC doesn't have it, but at the end of the day, even though I just said that, I think I could see NC State making a better run, and I'm going to upset both my guys at the table here.
It's crazy to think that Darian Williams on NC State, the transfer from Texas Tech, before the season started, was actually the ACC preseason player of the year pick based off the voter polls for the ACC. Turns out Cam Boozer was maybe a little better than people thought. Not only did he win ACC player of the year, but he's probably going to win national player of the year. But if Darian Williams could have a Darian Williams type of game, I could potentially see them beating UT. But if not, I mean, UT I think definitely has a shot.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more of NC State just being in the ACC. Obviously, Syracuse had their battles with them. Will Wade, at the end of the day, too, he's making his first tournament appearance with NC State. And I like some of the things he said in the press conferences. He's a little annoyed, a little disrespected, he felt like, for being in the first four. He said, we didn't celebrate the draw at all. We don't want to be here. We know the real tournament starts on Thursday. I just like that from my coach. You saw him get a win in last tournament. Now he's playing with an even better squad in NC State.
I mean, this is a fiery coaching matchup in general. Sean Miller, can get heated at times. Same thing with Will Wade. There's been some rumors of Will Wade going back to LSU. If you remember, he had LSU humming really before COVID, back when NIL hadn't existed, and a few allegations thrown the way that he was possibly cheating and bribing players with money. I don't know if that'd get him in trouble too much these days, but if he goes back to LSU with Lane Kiffin, that'd be a really expensive detour. The fact he's gone from these other colleges such as McNeese State and then going back to a historic NC State program and then back to LSU. He's tried to shake off those rumors a little bit, but this is going to be a really good game later tonight for sure.
Yeah, I'm super excited. As far as tomorrow night, Tommy, we got Lehigh, Prairie View A&M, and then SMU, Miami, Ohio. Obviously, there was a lot of conversation about Miami, Ohio, whether they should get in or not. They end up getting in with the one loss. Can Miami, Ohio potentially go on a run here? They had one loss all season. It was in their conference tournament. Could they potentially go on a run from Dayton?
Yeah, it's super interesting because they're a really fun team to watch, but we talk about being battle-tested. If you're a team like Texas in the SEC, you see it every single game. Miami, Ohio, they've got none of that,
right.
But that might be a key reason why they're 31-0, but it still takes... It takes so much talent just to win every single game. There have been so many close games, and they pulled out every single one. I'm not going to lie. Can they go on the run? Sure. I think SMU gets the best of them. Boopy Miller's really talented. It's another ACC team that can slide in. I just think talent for talent, pace for pace, the ACC team's going to come out at the end of the day.
I agree. I think SMU's underrated. They were missing B.J. Edwards, one of their best players, due to injury. He's coming back. They go into this game as a 7-point favorite. I think it's a tough draw for Miami, Ohio. The fact that they only had one loss, but because of that one loss, they didn't have a great resume. They got thrown to Dayton, and I didn't think it was a great draw for them.
Yeah, it's slightly unfair. You could think about it. They go the entire regular season without a loss. They hurt themselves a little bit in losing in the quarterfinals of their conference. I think even if they made the semis, if they made the finals, they could have gotten an at-large without having to play in. The play-in, on the other hand, though, they were asking for competition all year. People were asking, can they beat a good team? Here's your prove-it point. Go ahead and beat a team in the ACC, and then you're
excuses.
in the tournament. Exactly.
I hate it for them because I was really on their side in their case. I've never seen a 30-win team get this much scrutiny, but here we go with Miami Redhawks and possibly a prove-it kind of tournament for them in March. Plenty of teams to look forward to in this tournament. Tommy, happy March. Thank you for joining us on Newhouse Afternoon. When we come back, we'll preview the WC Finals matchup tonight, the United States versus Venezuela, with Joey Cecchini coming up on Newhouse Afternoon. We'll be right back.
Still streaming live on Twitch and YouTube.
Thank you, fellas.
Have any questions, hit up the chat. That was awesome.
Yeah, great job, Tommy. Great job.
I didn't know how to end it because so much passion.
We could have talked about this bracket for 2 hours.
I'm glad you asked a Miami question because I totally forgot to ask. Like, that's one of the biggest storylines. So
it would have been cool, even though I didn't want Auburn to get in. I definitely didn't want them to get in over if they had played Miami, Ohio.
I would love that play-in if Auburn was good enough. Feel like that was the conversation all season long. Better team.
That would have been cool. Just the two teams that were fighting again, and they just matched them up.
Joseph Cecchini Jr.
Big game tonight. Big game.
Oh, man. I am not seeing Robert here, so I don't know where he is, Hunter.
Crazy movie
I told him we would touch on lacrosse at the end of the show. So.
Well. It's going to be a feel thing, I guess, for how long this goes, but it should be around 9-10 minutes, I guess.
Professor Gutterman viewing?
What?
He just walked by.
Oh, I was about to say, what?
Shout out Media Law.
Roy Gutterman.
During the day, media law professor. At night,
Dude, is there
soccer star.
Is there another
Outdoor.
outlet around here? There's got to be something.
There's one in the way back, Joe. You see in the back where those cords are coming out of?
Think can reach
I
it.
don't know if it reached. Maybe.
Let's see. Let me know if he says how long we need to go.
Just have another minute or two. Excited for tonight. Venezuelans are going to be
It's going to be
rowdy.
another road game. It's going to be another road game for U.S.
What do you think? What do you think the split will be?
70-30. I mean, they're out there partying already for sure.
I mean, it looked like we were talking about it
They're
before.
cooking up already outside the stadium.
Really?
There's going to be some good eats for sure. Some nice arepas. Arroz con pollo. It's going to be a great
Stadium polls could be up for the Americans in their own country.
I mean, Judge walking out with that flag tonight, though.
Yeah.
We're the home team, so.
They're going to run that back again, I hope.
They're technically the home team.
Yeah. Which is huge. They haven't been home in a couple games, so.
Yeah.
Been the road team
right.
because they lost their pool.
So they would be hitting bottom 9 if they came to it. Like,
Yeah, that would be Aura.
Would love to see Judge have a Judge type of game.
Have a Captain America moment.
Love to see.
If it's Ferris' moment. Yep. Let's go to Kenny Rosenthal.
How about that? Him and Skis, that post game. How the difference in the
Dude.
height there. Oh my.
Literally
goodness.
looking up a mountain.
He couldn't even get the mic to like his chin.
Oh, jeez.
Crazy.
Could have gotten bro a stool or something.
I had no idea before last night that Acuna was Venezuelan. I saw him in the leadoff spot. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
no. They've got.
They got some.
They are stacked, man. I would not be afraid, I guess, if Italy won that game, but because it's Venezuela now.
I thought if Italy had won, it would have been easy.
Oh yeah, they're not beating us twice. I wouldn't have thought they'd beat the U.S. twice.
The strategy they went with, trying to bridge their two starters, they were going to have a bullpen game tonight, which would have been really tough.
Do you know how much longer we have, sir?
Fantastic.
All right.
Bobby Witt's been playing well. You can maybe kind of rely on him.
Love some Bobby Witt chatter.
Is it going to be Raleigh or?
Yeah, ask me. We'll find out
Yeah.
who I think it should be.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back. It's 3:40 inside the SMC studios at Newhouse. It is Newhouse Afternoon. Joseph Duffy and Hunter Caparelli now joined to preview the WC Finals matchup tonight in Miami, the United States versus Venezuela. A Miami native in Joey Cicini. Joey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I can't be more excited. This is going to be awesome tonight.
Joey, happy to have you on the show. Me and Joe, as the two lone graduate students on Newhouse Afternoon, we love getting our fellow graduate buddies on the show. And obviously, you have a background in baseball. Do you want to maybe go off that before we get into this game tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. So I finished up my baseball career at Regis University out in Denver, Colorado. Played 4 years there. Was an outfielder. Then tried to squeak out a fifth year at Westchester University out in Philly, but blew out my knee in January of last year. So I was like, you know what? If I can't play sports anymore, let's come talk about it. And no better place than Newhouse to do that.
I love it.
And that you were great at, and this is going to be a great game tonight to look forward to. You look at this matchup here with Nolan McLean, who's slated to start for the U.S., with the lefty Eduardo Rodriguez. Is that pitching match worrisome for you when you look at Nolan McLean? Because a few weeks ago, that kind of shocked people that he would be slated to start if the U.S. made the final.
So I'm going to go against the grain here. Absolutely not, in my opinion. This is a gritty guy. He was a former two-way player at Oklahoma State. He's a grinder. He's been in these big moments. Yes, he's only had 8 big league starts, but he dazzled in those appearances. He had 57 strikeouts over 48 innings pitched, 5-0 record for the New York Mets just down the road here. He was a Syracuse Met as well, their ace for a while here in the Salt City. I mean, he's got statistically the best curveball in baseball. He spins it at 3,400 RPMs, so that spin rate is something to keep an eye on. A heavy right-handed lineup for Venezuela, so I think he's really got to command both sides of the plate with that power sinker and try to get them to fish for that breaking ball. On the other side, though, Erod's interesting. He's entering his 11th big league year. He's a World Series champion, so he's very familiar with big game spots, especially wearing Venezuela across his chest. He's going to have a little more juice. Back in the day, he was mid-upper 90s. I think we might see that a little bit tonight, but he did get hit a little bit against the DR last game. Soto pieced him up. Ketel Marte found the Clevelander in left field against him still, but he still had 5 strikeouts. He's going to really have to do a great job mixing fastball changeup against the U.S. to have success today.
Feels like with a bunch of these games, it's hard to tell when a game is either going to be super high scoring or like a grudge match. We saw with the USA semifinal win over the DR 2-1. Skeen started, so he was able to handle it pretty controllably, but it's been hard to tell with these teams that are super offensive powerhouses whether a game's going to be high scoring or not. Do you think tonight's game is going to be high scoring based off the pitching matchup between the two teams?
So I'm glad you bring that up. I think the key for both teams is going to be who gets to the bullpen first, especially for the United States. They might be down their 2 best arms that they were relying on due to pitch count situations. David Bednar has been unbelievable. He's been in some high leverage spots, but he hasn't allowed a walk, 8 strikeouts through 4 innings. And Mason Miller, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the stats on that guy since September 8th. 0 for 50 hitters have been since September 8th with 39 strikeouts. Hasn't allowed a hit, 10 Ks in 4 innings for the United States. So those are 2 guys that they've been heavily relying on throughout the tournament that I'm not sure we're going to see tonight. So we're going to have to see who steps up. Tyler Rogers came in against the DR, drew a huge double play in his first outing in the red, white, and blue. It's going to be Garrett Whitlock potentially in another big spot, but he hasn't allowed a hit in 3 scoreless outings, 5 strikeouts to add to that. And it's going to be based on who Mark DeRosa wants to go with. It's going to be a big moment for him. I think this whole game comes down to if he pushes the right buttons. Is it going to be a Garrett Clevenger? Is it going to be a Tim Hill to try to get one of those Venezuelan lefties out? Is it going to be a Brad Keller from the Cubs to maybe come in with that power sinker? Somebody for the United States is going to have to step up in that bullpen. And on the other side, Venezuela, they had a gauntlet of a bullpen game last night. They had 6 relievers combined to throw 7 2/3 scoreless innings, just allowing 3 hits and 2 walks. So, I mean, their pitching's a big reason why they're in this game tonight. They've got a ton of big league talent and a Mason Miller-esque closer of their own in Daniel Palencia, upper 90s, low hundreds fastball, a wipeout sweeper. I mean, it's great potential across the board in that bullpen, but they both have been used heavily throughout this tournament. I think a big key in this game is going to be who gets to that pen first.
The U.S. definitely has the advantage, the fact that they played 2 nights ago. Venezuela played last night, although we were talking about a little earlier, it might not be a home field advantage for the U.S., even though the game is in Miami, in the United States. You were mentioning that you think it'll be a heavy Venezuelan crowd in Miami.
Oh, 100%. I mean, especially last night against Italy, it was almost 80-20, I felt like, for Venezuela in that stadium. I can assure you now, I wish we had a live cam here. I'm sure they're cooking up some great food before the game. People are rallying. They're getting the horns warmed up for inside the stadium. Their first ever appearance in the WBC final, and I think they're going to make it known. If I had to guess, maybe a 70-30 split. Hopefully, maybe the boys in blue can come out and support. We can get some more fans in there. So it's not as much of a road game for the home squad tonight. But Venezuela, I mean, the atmosphere the WBC brings, I mean, we're going to see it on full display tonight.
It wouldn't be the first time exactly for the U.S. because a few nights ago it was very similar for the DR matchup, and you saw them pull that out, you know, playing the villain role in their own country. Even though it was Miami, a lot of Dominicans pulled up to support the DR, and what a great matchup that lived up to all the hype in that regard. Do you have a score prediction for this matchup tonight? I feel like you're going to lean United States, but, you know, I didn't have Italy winning that matchup for a second time against the United States. I was watching that game intently against Venezuela, and I was hoping to see if Italy could do it again because they hadn't lost in the tournament the whole time. But what do you have them doing tonight, Venezuela, against the United States?
I mean, I think it's going to be a little more offensive heavy. I mean, these first couple games in the semifinal, we haven't seen a ton of firepower, but there's power across the board for both sides here. Venezuela, they got guys like Ronald Acuna Jr., reigning NL MVP, or excuse me, not reigning, but former NL MVP. Gino Suarez, who 49 home runs last year. Willier Abreu with some lefty pop. He already had his big moment when they took down Japan, the winners of last year, and a veteran backstop in Salvador Perez who could slug it. But I think the key for Venezuela offensively is what they did last night. They didn't do too much. They played small ball. They bunted a little bit. They legged out some infield singles. They came through with runners in scoring position. And that's through two guys that I think the United States have to circle in this lineup. Michael Garcia from the Royals. I mean, he's been spectacular. He's batting .435 with 6 RBIs. I mean, he was a 5+ WAR player last year for the Royals on that left side with Bobby Witt Jr. And I mean, he's been putting it on display at third base. And then his counterpart on the left side for Venezuela is Ezequiel Tovar, has been another great table setter for them throughout the tournament. He's hitting .462, 3 doubles. I mean, he's got a sensational glove, and he's a great base runner. So I think for the United States, they need to keep those speed demons off the base path to not let those power bats try to capitalize.
And going back to the U.S., it seems like the biggest lineup decision is going to be at catcher between Cal Raleigh and Will Smith. Raleigh obviously almost won MVP last year. Everyone knows he's really good, but it doesn't seem like he's had that much success hitting during the WBC. Do you think we see Will Smith start, or do you think we'll see Raleigh?
I mean, if I'm DeRosa, I'm pulling the trigger on Will Smith. I mean, this is a guy, he's not a 3-time World Series champion for no reason.
Right.
I mean, people make the argument that Cal Raleigh's better back there defensively, but the advanced metrics do like Will Smith at throwing runners out. He's 87th percentile according to Baseball Savant on throwing guys out, trying to steal on him. So, I mean, I love that, especially with an aggressive Venezuelan base running team back there. And Raleigh hitless in the WBC. I mean, where's Big Dumper gone? I mean, 60 home runs for him last season, but he's been a ghost in the WBC. And I do agree. I think he's better with a little bit of the framing and the blocking. So maybe we'll see a late switch for Raleigh in the later innings. Maybe if there's a power right-handed arm and we need a home run, we might try to get Raleigh off the bench. But that's one of many lineup decisions to see if Mark DeRosa punches the right ticket. I think another interesting decision is third base. I mean, with how great Gunnar Henderson's been playing and that home run he hit against the Dominican Republic, he's batting over 400 in the tournament. He's got a ton of momentum, but Alex Bregman, another guy with a ton of playoff experience, a veteran on Team USA, Gold Glove winner at third base. He demolishes left-handed pitching. Yes, I know he's only 2 for 11, but I think to start out this game, you got to roll with Bregman. But Gunnar Henderson's got to be on the dugout steps. He's got to be that first guy off the bench if you don't punch a ticket with Gunnar to start tonight.
Real quick, last thing, Joel. You've heard the topics of energy and passion, especially from the Latin American countries, and you see it with the U.S. getting these, kind of strays throwing out their style of baseball. Not as much energy and not as much passion from the fan bases, if you want to look at it that way. What are your thoughts on that topic? Do you think it's overrated how it's being thrown towards the U.S. because they still made the final?
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of noise. I mean, yes, certainly you could talk about the energy differences, especially in Latin America. I mean, I don't know, it's something about wearing their country, wearing that flag on their sleeve, especially in that DR game where they went down to the U.S. I don't think I've seen Juan Soto track a ball in left field that fast in years. And even O'Neal Cruz, a guy who's been chirped for his hustle for a couple years in Pittsburgh, he almost legged out a routine ground ball to shortstop, and he showed off that 75, 80 grade speed. I mean, those guys, their celebrations, I think they're going to get bats stuck in the roof on those bat flips. They are going insane. But then on the flip side, you look at the past winners like Japan. They're very poised, they're bowing to the umpire, like they're very, very proper team in terms of that. In the United States, they're very even killed as well. Like we saw a little bit of energy with Gunnar. He was sticking the tongue out on the home run against the DR. Roman Anthony as well got a little hyped up, the young kid. They started popping out of the dugout for USA. So, I mean, yeah, there's some merit to that, but I think the U.S., they can't get out of their style of play. They can't try to match Venezuela's energy. I mean, I think on paper they got the better roster. They got more experience. They've got more accolades, but they just got to stay within themselves. They have the tools to get it done, and it's going to be exciting. I'm hoping to hear some Freebird tonight in Lone Depot.
Look forward to seeing it. Joey, thanks for coming on to talk about the WBC Finals. It'll be on at 8 o'clock on Fox. When we come back, we'll preview a little bit of men's and women's lacrosse with Robert Shabilsky after a quick break. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Thanks, Joey. Yes, sir.
Still streaming live on
job.
Twitch and YouTube. Hit us up in the chat.
He has some of the best advanced metrics, the best curveball in baseball. I was like, oh boy.
What do we have, like 3 minutes?
Are you still ready to do it, Robert, or do you want to? Yeah, just letting you know, it's gonna be really quick.
Really quick.
I hate to do this, but do you want to just talk men's real quick?
Yeah.
Because they're both on great streaks.
The men just played last night, so.
Yeah, but the women do play tonight. That's the thing.
We'll just mention Molly. We're going to play in 40 minutes.
Yeah, so I'll preview that. So we're going to talk mainly. I'm going to ask like one question. You ask another question.
Yeah.
I just want to, we'll be good.
Yeah, if you see in the corner of your eye, it'll be a 3:55:20 hard end right here, 3:55:20.
Okay, when are we back on the air?
Just depends. They have like a set RA time for commercials, so I'm guessing another minute.
Okay.
When will we be on, sir?
What's up, Beast?
All right.
All right, so we'll have about a minute. we'll have about,
What are we doing?
we'll have about a minute.
Okay. This will be good. Hey, we gave all the pub to Tommy about March Madness and Sassini with
Joe,
swinging a hot stick
I'll leave it
with
just
the
you
World
and
Baseball
Rob.
Classic.
I'll
That's
probably
okay.
just stay out of it.
Hey,
Okay.
men's lacrosse 4-2 on the road trip. They're back in the Dome Sunday against former Big East rival Georgetown. Hey, yes it is. It's also March, so we are capable of winning outdoors now. Calendar's flipped.
It's like
Liking the sweater Sassini was rocking. It's a nice sweater.
it's nice. Where do you get that? Yeah.
Like Ralph Lauren.
Where? Club room? What's club room?
Fancy.
What's club room?
It's like a house brand of.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Gotta be really concise with the speech here.
Who do the men play next now?
Georgetown.
That's a big one, right?
Georgetown's really bad.
Oh, are they?
They beat like no one.
Okay, so
Actually, I don't know who did they beat. They're coming off. Oh, I checked. I just forgot already.
and that's back at home.
Yeah, they lost to Ohio State. They just beat Albany. They play Loyola tonight. Yeah, their only wins are Albany and Penn. I don't even know where they're ranked now. Because they haven't really beat a good team.
Should be back here soon.
Dude.
I saw.
This is literally about to be me introducing you one question, quick answer.
Do you go to another break or it ends super early?
It ends 3:55:20.
Oh, that's when we end.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So this is gonna be real quick.
How many seconds do we have, sir?
I don't know.
Really
57?
appreciate that. That's huge.
No, I didn't know that.
Love that. We want to make Tim happy. We want to let Tim know that I've got some ball knowledge here.
Oh, okay. 3:57, just no seconds extra after that? All right, 3:57. All right.
Love it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. This is our producer, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you cut the clips for social? If you do, you do a really great job at that. Hey,
You do that
you're the
real
man.
time?
You do
Like,
that really quick, and
it's
you
crazy.
do some great copy on social with it.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
The more content we can produce, the better.
Do you want to call it? No, I'm not going to put the call number.
Inside lacrosse bowl. I just know where Georgetown is right now.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Back on Newhouse Afternoon, Joseph Duffy joined with our lax analyst and Robert Shabilsky, who is back after a brief hiatus, but he is back to talk about this men's lacrosse team that has been on a heater after having a little bit of a downward spiral, but going 4-2 on the recent 6-game road trip.
Well, pumped to be back with the boys here.
It feels like it's been a minute since we've been here. But, yeah, I mean, Syracuse goes out on a 6-game road trip, the longest since 1972. They go 4-2 in that stretch. They pick up some big wins over ranked opponents, and they just had a big win last night over Denver at Peter Barden Lacrosse Stadium. So they're coming back to the Dome on Sunday to face off against Georgetown. I think
13th team in the country.
Georgetown, 13th team in the country. Don't really know who they've beaten so far. They lost to Ohio State. They beat Albany. Georgetown not doing as well as people would have thought at the beginning of the season when they picked up the Connor brothers in the portal. But I think if you're Gary Gate after that big win over Maryland, they say, hey, you're going to go 4-2 on the road. Probably don't love that you lost to Harvard and Princeton, but to go 4-2 in a 6-game road trip, I think is a huge win for Gary Gate's squad here.
And also women's lacrosse, Reggie Thorpe's team is winners of 5 straight. Just beat number 4 Northwestern this past Thursday, 9-6. They'll play at 4:30 against number 7 Yale tonight. That'll do it for Newhouse Afternoon. Hunter Caparelli, Robert Shabilsky, Joseph Duffy signing off here from the SMC studios.
Did you miss Drive Time?